I am so excited and flattered to be here, truly. And also, honestly, a little bit nervous, a little bit uncomfortable. I don't know if you noticed, but I'm a white male. Aren't I part of the problem? That's what it feels like. So what I did was I asked two of the most intelligent women I know that know me really well, what would they say about me being here? What would they say to you about me being here in front of you? And those two extremely intelligent women, of course, are my daughters. And so we have a little piece of video to show. They have put together a couple of minutes each, unscripted, unedited, and most importantly, uncreative directed. Let's roll the video of the girls.
Hi, I'm Paula, Paul's oldest daughter. And you're right, that is a rather narcissistic thing to do. Look, if you're mad you came to a women's conference to hear a charming, middle-aged white man speak, you are not alone. Who the hell invited him, right? As you may know, Paul was invited to speak after he wrote an article for Campaign magazine, which basically said, let's use basic human decency when we interact with each other, and you would have thought the man single-handedly solved string theory. Let me tell you a little bit about Paul, huh? Here is a man whose fat sausage fingers were only marginally better at getting off those tight little rubber Polly Pocket pants than my sister and he had maybe 30 plus years of life experience on us. This is also a man who recently started wearing a swim shirt because he thought it would make him look younger and slimmer. How can you trust a guy who feels that way about a rash guard, huh? When we were kids, Paul's literal only use was that when we were at a restaurant and we had to use the bathroom, he would come with us and sing and dance so that we wouldn't get bored while we were on the toilet. However, what he lacks in manual dexterity and fashion sense, he does make up for with heart. Paul has worked tirelessly to make his community a better place for his family, his friends, his employees, his neighbors, and all the other people whose lives he touches. He's always told us the only thing that matters is what's in your heart, and he has absolutely lived his life accordingly. When we were kids, we used to play this game out in the garden with the hose that was literally just Paul sitting there squirting himself repeatedly in the face with a garden hose at full force, solely for the amusement of my sister and I. And that is exactly what Paul is doing here tonight. He is willing to make himself look like a total idiot and sacrifice his own personal self-comfort to uplift women and men everywhere. So maybe he's worth a shot.
Hello, I am Paul's youngest child, his second child. Weird to say that. I don't call my dad Paul, ever. But when he asked me to make this video, I did not hesitate to agree. My dad has given me so many things, both tangible and intangible, and anytime that I can try and give back, I want to. And that kind of reminds me of this one time when I was 8 years old, and I went to this candy store down the street with my older sister, Paula. And this candy store is known for being a little bit, eccentric. And I saw these little chocolate balls, and they were wrapped in foil to make them look like baseballs. And I was like, oh, this is great. My dad would love this. And so I was like, great. So I got some. I brought them home. I put them on the counter. I said, here, Dad, I got you these. And he's like, oh, thanks, Soph. That's great. Pops one in his mouth. I wait 15, 30 seconds before I ask, hey, Dad, did you take the foil off first before you ate it? And he looks back at me, mouth half open, half chewed chocolate, half chewed foil, all mixed up in there, and goes, I'm telling you, word for word, he goes, you didn't tell me there was foil on it. Like somehow me, an 8-year-old at the time, was supposed to tell a 40-something-year-old that he had to unwrap candy before he ate it. So it's moments like these where my family, we have this joke where we say, oh, because dad is outside all day in the real world being a genius, when he comes home, he just turns his brain off. But as I got older, I started to realize there was a lot more truth in that than I had thought. He always tells me the only things that you can control in your life are your attitude and your effort. And he always tells me the only thing that matters is what's in your heart. And he tells my sister this too. And in this way, I feel like despite his inability to consume candy properly, my dad actually is a genius of sorts because he values people above all else. And for some reason, our society has not yet come to that same conclusion. So today, when you listen to Paul speak, remember, he might start to babble like a foil-eating goon, but it's all coming from a good heart, and really, that's all that matters.
Oh, kids, you really should edit them. I don't wear a swim shirt because I think I look cool. I wear a swim shirt because I'm lazy with sunscreen. There's a big difference there. Although the foil bit is true. I thought it was decorated. I thought it was frosting. Okay. I did write an article for campaign, and Kat hunted me down. And she actually came up to the offices in San Francisco, and she said, I want you to speak at the 3% conference. And I said, okay, really? Why? Tell me more. And she explained it very well. She said, we need men to join us. We need men to come forward, not to retreat, to put their authentic selves out there, to not hide behind some PC script about what all these issues mean and what gender equality is, but to actually put themselves out there and be authentic and come forward and join us. And so I thought that was interesting, and we talked a little more, and I told her about my story, and she said, well, that's it. She said, you know, not every man has had the pleasure of raising two strong, independent women. So your perspective could be helpful there. Not every man has had the honor and privilege to take care of foster kids. And so you have a perspective there. And then she went on to say, and not every man has been trained by a good woman. And let me tell you, I have been trained by a good woman. I met this woman when I was 22 years old and a receptionist. Strike one, 22-year-old male. Strike two, receptionist. On a train going into New York City, and I met this woman, and while I was still a receptionist, I told her one day I'm going to have my own ad agency. And she didn't laugh at me, and she didn't spit coffee in my face. She married me. And 30 years later, she's propping me up by my side. She's here tonight. Annette, thank you so much for being with me and by my side all these years. I can't imagine what that 22-year-old would have turned out like. Foil would be the least of our problems, eating foil. And then Kat brought it back home, and she used this quote, and I love this quote, and she said, you gotta tell men they can't see the future from the man cave. And I was like, that's a great quote. Good, I'm in, you got me. One fat bearded white guy, I'm a ambassador, I'm all for it, I love it, here I am. And it got me thinking about my man cave. And I think I have the world's lamest man cave. We did build a house a couple of years ago, and I do have my own room, my private little Pablo room, which I love. It's very small. It just has a beautiful desk and some windows. Is really all that's in this room. In fact, there's only really room for me in it and maybe one visitor for a short period of time. So it's modest by those standards. And on the walls are no framed jerseys. There's no sports memorabilia in this room. In fact, on the walls are three pieces of art. One is a black leader they called a rabble-rouser. This is actually a painting by Joan Baez, the rocker. She's a beautiful artist, and I'm just captivated by this photo. Also on the wall, a Mexican queen who set a nation's heart on fire, and a misunderstood Jewish guy they also called a rabble-rouser. And when I think about that collection of folks, this is what hits me. They're all radical agents of change. And what's even better than that, they are peaceful agents of change. And that got me really excited that that's what inspires me. That's what I hope my man cave maybe to be in some small way, is a place where I can work on how I change myself and those around me. So I've embraced that. A note on those last two photos. I am currently enrolled in a 3-year program in Ignatian spirituality, at the end of which I'll be certified and approved to be a spiritual director and be able to lead someone through the spiritual exercises. And what's kind of funny about that is that to lead a spiritual director in the spiritual exercises is just supposed to get the hell out of the way. So I was like, oh, I could do that. That's a job I'm suited for. So there you go, authentic self, open, out, vulnerable. Of course, these are my views. This is not the views of the agency. I respect and welcome all other views. And I just wanted to put my authentic, honest self out here, flapping in the Chicago breeze. And that's what you have. Okay. Now before, thank you. Before I advance to the next slide, I'm going to show you a fact. This is the interactive part of our chat together today. I'm going to show you a fact, and I'd like a show of hands if you think the fact is true. If you think the fact is true, and I get it. In today's day and age, a lot of facts. We're talking about fake news and alternate facts and all this other stuff. And so it might take you a moment to you analytical types might take a moment to kind of run the numbers in your head. Is this fact true? I realize that your political viewpoint might affect whether you think the fact is true, and I know that we have people on the left here today, and we also have people on the extreme left. That's a joke. Thank you for that. I also believe we have people on the right, and I'm excited they're here as well because we have to do this stuff together. But I needed to make that crack. Okay, fact. So show of hands if you think it's true. I'll give you a second to digest it. Ready? Here it is. The world is screwed up. Who's with me? A lot of hands just went up. A lot of hands went up. Here's what's killing us in society is the extremism. We know this. The polarization of America is just wearing us down because what it's doing is it's creating this divide, right? And the divide seems hopeless that we could ever fill the divide. That's what's really going on. It's the extremism creating the gap, and none of us feel like, can there really be a bridge across the gap? And that's what's killing us. Another thing that's hurting us in society today is that people are actually enjoying the hate. They like the attack and the counterattack. They're part of it. I think what happens is we even get a little self-satisfied if we antagonize the other side and we're successful. And so I really want to ask us today, if we really want a better world, don't we have to be better? If we want a civil society, don't we have to practice civility? It seems obvious to me. If we get off on the blood-thumping anger and hate, are we really out to create some peace in the world? That's what we have to ask ourselves. Now listen, I understand anger. There's a lot to be angry about, and anger is a very good thing. Anger can be an agent of change. Outrage can be a catalyst for change. These are good things, but make no mistake, anger is a shitty destination. It's a shitty destination. So, where are we going? Thank you for the smattering. It's gut check time. Where are we going? What are we doing? Why are we doing what we're doing? These are important questions to ask. Let's start with advertising. Man, do we chase all the wrong things in this business. We chase titles and money and press and likes and awards and self-promotion. We literally are chasing our own egos. There's an entire industry chasing its own ego, and yet this particular industry has superpowers. This industry can change perception. This industry can change attitude. This industry can change behavior. And yet we chase our own egos as a collective industry. So I propose that instead of chasing ego, we chase change. Let's chase change. I'd like to start with men. Is that okay? Let's start with men. My whole life, men have to learn an important lesson in life. And that lesson simply is, what is a man? And my life growing up, and I admit even into my adult years, I thought I knew. Man is tough. Man is rational. A man is emotionless. A man knows how to throw a ball, throw a punch, drink a scotch, smoke a cigar, knows how to use a pitching wedge, change spark plugs, knows when to hold them, when to fold them, blah, 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 bullshit. A man, it's taken me 40 or 50 years with the training of a good woman. A man is a man when he uses his strength for others. It's that simple. A man, when he uses his strength, his talents, his intellect to help others, that's when a man is most a man, in my opinion. And it's taken me a long time to learn that. And now imagine if we were all human beings for others. What if the world was a little more other-centric? Instead of me, selfie, 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 what if the world was a little more other-centric? Well, that would be a pretty phenomenal place. And so, of course, because you're in marketing and you're jaded, you're thinking, yeah, it sounds nice, Paul. How does that work? Let me tell you. Let's start in advertising. If you're a creative director, instead of you working for your teams, instead of your teams working for you, you work for your teams. You work for them. They bring you an idea. You try to make it better. You try to help them. You try to figure out how to package it up and position it and sell it to a client. You figure out how to produce it and execute it to its best and reach its potential. You work for them. I've always believed and felt that a true creative director is someone who gets just as much pleasure and enjoyment producing a junior team's idea as creating and producing their own idea. And so that's, again, a gut check time. Is that how you feel as your creative direct? If you're a male creative director, can you please not ever refer to yourself as an ad guy again? and can we right now decide to retire and have you never refer to yourself as a madman, and we retire that phrase? If we could just agree to do that, I think the world just got 7% better. If we could retire madman, I'm a madman. Oh, Lord. If you're a female creative director, send me your book, please. I need help. We're working on this. We have a long way to go, and I need help. So that's an open invitation. Okay, so what if you're a planner? Instead of focusing on the geniusness that you poured out onto a page and protecting that and being precious about that, think of it this way. Your entire job is for others. Your job is to create a brief and an idea and a thought that inspires creative to do great work that solves a client's business problem. Your whole job is for others. So let's be a little less precious, a little more collaborative. That's how you be for others as a planner. How about as a department head? Well, what if you took a vested interest in every single person that works for you and reports to you's career, life, what's going on at home, what are their hopes and fears, where are they good, where do they need improvement, where can they go to grow, even if it's leave your nest? That's actually working for them, and you're going to get more out of them, and it's going to be better for both of you in the long term. You're probably going to retain them longer, by the way, with that kind of attitude. If you're a human resources director, instead of thinking about what policies can we enforce on people, what policies can we lift people with? It's a simple shift. How do you make life easier? We have working parents, we have people with kids at home, we have people with sick parents, and how do we make their lives easier, not harder, is a question you can ask yourselves. If you're a partner, so even for me, a partner at my agency, I consider myself the partner to the partners. And what that really means is I'm their partner. I'm there to help them, support them. If they need to go conquer something, what can I do? What can I arm them with to make them better, to make them more effective, to make them do what they need to set out to do? Even if it means I have to do the dishes sometimes. Even if it means Will McGinnis says, hey, Venables, can you write this idea video? And I write yet another idea video that I've done 6 million times in my life. I'm helping them if they need it to do their jobs. Partner to the partners. And then you can apply this theory beyond advertising, which I think it can get interesting as I shuffle my papers. Please hold. The podium looks good. I'm not so sure about the functionality. Okay, we extend this thought outside of advertising. If you're a corporate muckety-muck, I got 3 things for you. 1, you know that beautiful genius bit of tax savings that you just got handed? How about if you redirect that towards worker wages? That would help the world. What if you work toward a triple bottom line? and help all of society. That's another nice way. Or if you actually blew up the old boys network so others can ascend. These are things you can do in a corporate role. If you're a brand, you can take a stand on an injustice, a social, political injustice. It's tricky, it's dangerous, it can be done. Brands are doing it more and more, and consumers are demanding that brands do it more and more. And for this reason, we established a partnership with Rally, which is an issues-driven communications firm, and we partner up to help our clients identify what issues they can pick up and then credibly and authentically make an impact on those issues. So it can be done, a little tricky to navigate. Another thing a brand can do is simply pick up the slack that government's leaving. There's gaps in the government. So a brand can act to do social good and pick up a project or something for society that isn't political, that isn't a big issue, but it's helpful to society because there are huge gaps in the government. And a brand, if nothing else, can be a voice for and fight for and stand for diversity, inclusion, and tolerance. If you're a human being, how about be mother freaking present? Can we just start by being present in our lives? That would change the world right there. Be present. Be a giver, not a taker. Orient yourself to help. Look for the good in others. We all have tremendous capacity to do good things, even people on the other side of the political aisle. Look for the good. Give them the benefit of the doubt. Work with them. Bring it out. Treat the little people like the big people. Don't complain. Don't complain. Love till it hurts. That's another truth. True love has a cost. You know, people think love is a doe-eyed, kind of soft emotion. Love has a cost. When you truly love, you're willing to put their wants, needs, and interests ahead of your own, and that's going to cost you something at some point. Just like a young parent having to put aside their sleep schedule to deal with a baby in the night. It's going to cost you. In fact, here's a way to look at every moment of your life. Every single moment is a battle between ego and love. And love has just got to win the one-on-one matchups every once in a while. That makes the world a better place. When you put aside selfish interest and you look to other. All right. What happens if you move through the world this way? A beautiful, beautiful thing. Your little corner of the world improves. If I can work on my heart and what I'm putting out in the world and affect just this little area and everybody else does that a little bit, all of a sudden it's a sea change. The ocean is made of many drops of water. Don't pollute your drop. That would be good advice. Let's not pollute our drops. And there's a beautiful thing as a result of this kind of approach, is that people will be attracted to you. People will want to work with you and for you. They want to hire you. They want to give you business. They want to support you when things are difficult. They'll be right there next to you, helping you, guiding you, working with you. And guess what? When you screw up, and you will, they'll be more likely to give you some slack. And that alone is a great benefit of moving through the world with this consciousness. All right, so is all of this talk charitable or Machiavellian? Charitable or Machiavellian? Is it just being nice, or is it actually creating a competitive advantage for you out in the world? And of course, the answer is yes. It's both. Of course it is. It's both. You do well and you sleep well. And others around you do well and they sleep well. And that can be the beautiful result of thinking and working to bridge and for other. I love this quote from Saint Mother Teresa of Calcutta. We can do no great things, only small things with great love. I love it because it starts with a head slap. We all think we're so great, we're going to do great things. You know, our opinion matters more than everybody else's. Actually, maybe not. Maybe we should just, kind of get over ourselves would be the right phrase. Maybe we should just get over ourselves. Maybe we should just work on our own hearts, our own small thing. Right? If we can work on our own small thing and improve it, that's how the world really changes. That's that human heart's meaningfully touching other human hearts. When we lead with compassion, with good intention, when we give the other the benefit of the doubt, when we take care of our own shit, that's how the world changes. That's how it happens. One human heart addressing touching, meaningfully affecting another. So how do you work on your one human heart? I'm going to sum up your entire life for you, if you're okay with that. I did it neatly on a slide. Leave people better than you found them. I stole this from somewhere. I love this thought. Leave people better. It's so simple, it's so pure, it's so right. And what makes it so right is it's right for the smallest now moment, but it also potentially could be right for the meaning of life. Leave people better than you found them. Be an agent that moves them forward. It's a beautiful thought. You can practice it. You can practice this. This doesn't happen instantly. You have to adopt a little bit of mindfulness. So you go into a meeting. Before that meeting, you consider who's in that room. What do they need? Do they need just inspiration? Do they need to be praised for their hard work? Do they need their ideas batted about to be made better? Do they need guidance? Do they need permission to do something? Do they need a jolt of energy or bravery? Right? And then you can have the meeting, and when you leave, you can stop at the door once again and go, did I do that? Did I lift them? Did I take their idea and actually make it better? Or did I leave them with stress, unclarity, deadlines, anxiety, not acknowledging them? You can actually move through your world and check this every step of the way. We have a group called Wisdom Labs that we have given them space amongst us. I think it's $10 a month. They get to stay with us as kind of an incubator, help a fledgling business along. And they had us do a mindfulness training where they were incorporating these ideas, and people were journaling how they felt, and if they orient your intention right before you do something, interact with somebody. And it was fantastic. And as you know, mindfulness is a very much part of Eastern tradition. And it was really, people reporting back how powerful and amazing it was to move through the workplace with a little bit more mindfulness. I think that's a really powerful thing that you can do. And so you can leave people better than you found them in a meeting, in a phone call, over email. There's no end. You can leave your relatives better than you found them when you go home for Thanksgiving, even the crazy ones, if you go with the right intention. That's your homework assignment. Go for Thanksgiving. Make sure you leave the whole crew better than you found them. Okay, the home stretch. This is my parting thought. First, my deepest desire is that compassion wins. That compassion wins. I truly believe compassion is the only thing that can truly fill the nasty divide, any nasty divide. Compassion is really the only bridge. That's where the bridge has to begin to be built. In fact, I feel like Mother Earth is groaning for compassion these days. And we all can supply it, even in our little small drops of water that we add to the ocean. And so here's my parting thought I'm going to leave you with. More women leading like men currently do is a win for equality, and that's good. But more men and women leading more compassionately than men currently do changes the course of humanity. So women of the world, please don't give up on us. Don't give up on us. Thank you. God bless you all. It's been a privilege to be here today. Thank you.